In today's episode of the Pathway Presents podcast, I got a very interesting guest here with me today. I'm with Nagel, and she's hailing over from the folks over at Tyto Robotics. And today we want to deep dive into what Tyto is all about, what they're doing, and who they're serving and today, and how she is thinking about growth for the company. So welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Very good. So Lauren, maybe tell us a little bit more about Tyto. What is it all about in your own words?
Sure. So we manufacture different types of drone testing equipment. So whether someone wants to test their drone as a whole or the individual components, we have some equipment that can help them with that. One of our major products is called a thrust stand. We actually call it a flight stand, and it measures thrust, torque, RPM, current, and voltage. And that's for the motor propeller ESC system. And so from that data, we're able to generate the power and efficiency of the system. And that efficiency is what's so key to our clients because it helps them figure out which combination of motor, propeller, or ESC works best and is going to allow them to fly longer, farther, have a greater payload. So that's a really key number. When the company first started, they were testing propellers up to 16 inches in length, so about 40 centimeters. But now we're testing propellers all the way up to 2 meters. So it's been pretty cool to be a part of that growth. The other major product we distribute actually, is called Wind Shaper. It's basically a wall of fans. And with each of these little fans, you can control them individually to make these 3D wind flows. And so that's great for testing your drone as a whole at that point. So you can test its endurance, how it maneuvers, how it deals with obstacles. And so between that and the thrust stand, it really lets our clients test their drones at pretty much every stage of the process.
Gotcha. Very cool. That makes a whole lot of sense. Now, tell us a little bit about the customers. Who's what types of customers are you sort of serving?
Right. So our customers include people who are building drones, researching drones, or working with drones in general. We've had the pleasure of working with organizations like NASA, MIT, and a lot of the big names in drone and eVTOL building. So essentially anyone who is building a drone or trying to optimize a drone is someone who can benefit from our products.
Very good. Now, I would say, let's tell maybe a little bit about sort of, how do they find you guys? I mean, it's a very unique angle and offer. Like, what's the journey looking like in order to get to know you guys and getting started?
Good question. So in terms of how people find us, we're big on our inbound marketing strategy. So we put a lot of time into our content marketing, our website, our Google Leads, or our Google Ads strategy. And so when we're creating a piece of content, for example, we try to think of a question a potential client might have. For example, how do I measure my motor's efficiency? And so then we'll take that question, we'll write a piece of content about it, an article or a video, usually both, and then we try to answer it really well. And within that process, we're usually able to incorporate our tools. And so what we're doing is we're saying, we see your problem, here's our solution and how our products can help you get there. This is also a great opportunity to demonstrate our expertise. He always denies it, but I swear my boss is a genius who can answer pretty much any question about drones or propulsion systems. And so it's really nice to be able to demonstrate that we have that type of expertise in-house. The challenge, though, is that our products are quite technical in nature, and it can be a little hard to communicate that with just one media at a time or with just our website. And so beyond just bringing people to our site, the other challenge is educating them on what we can help them with. And so an example recently was I was trying to market a feature we have called Flight Replay. So basically how that works is someone flies around their drone, and then it records the throttle values from that flight. And they can download those values, upload them in our software, and then replay it on our thrust stand. And it's a little it's cool, but it's a little hard to conceptualize when you just hear it in words or written down. So what I did recently was I reached out to our audience and asked them to send me their drone controller data. And one of our clients from Australia did just that. And I was able to use their data with one of our thrust stands that we have in the lab and do a video demonstration of the test. And that video was really well received. I think people finally sort of understood what the feature was. And it's kind of funny because that's something that has been on our website for months and in our data sheets for months, but it took this new type of medium in order for people to really understand it. So half the problem is just getting people to the site, then the other half of the challenge is really educating them. But it's a fun challenge to tackle.
Very, very good. Cool. You brought up the website. So, and I totally get it. It's a complex product to market on a website. what do you think is the strength of the website versus where do you see room for further improvement regarding to that challenge?
That's a great question. We are doing a lot of work on the website right now. So I'd say our content marketing is strong. I think our photos and our video resources are strong. We have a really great photographer that we work with. We also recently redesigned the website. So aesthetically, I think we're in a pretty good place. What we're focusing on now is functionality and the user experience. And this is something I think we can get far away from at times, because I'm on the website every single day, multiple times a day. Of course, I think it's obvious that if you want this piece of information, you go there. But for someone coming to our website for the first time, that's probably not that obvious. So I've been working with a couple tools in order to try to understand our user experience better. One looks at sort of people's movement through the website, so where they click, where they try to click but can't, what sequence of pages they go through, and that gives me an idea what that journey looks like. The other thing I'm doing is A/B testing, which you're probably familiar with, just testing different headlines, different buttons to see which people are most likely to engage with. And so that's one area that we're actively looking to improve.
Very cool. Now, let's switch gears a little bit. We talked a bit about the website. I would love to talk a little bit about more your day as a marketer, right? It already shows that you're quite deeply investigated in the website and what people are doing. Like, what else is on your plate usually? What's a typical day like?
Okay, a typical day would be, usually I have something queued up for social media. So I come to work, first thing I do is post that on social media, check all our channels for how the interaction from the previous day went. Then I might go bother my team to see who can help me make some content. Oh, what are you working on? Can I film that? What are you working on? Can I take a picture? And then probably the rest of my morning will be spent either editing that or making content out of it. A lot of the time it's converting old content to new content. I'm trying to do more infographics and different like long form videos into short form videos, because those are so much more popular now. And then in the afternoon, it's either more the same or working on, we go to a lot of trade shows. So right now I'm planning for a couple trips. And we have a great web developer as well, who works with us. And so I have quite a few meetings with him where we work side by side on the website. I wish I was more techie, but when it comes to coding, I'm not very strong. So I'll just say, okay, can you move this or add this feature? And he'll do it in front of me and say, okay, great, now change that color. So it's a pretty interactive day, which I like a lot.
Very nice. I got some rapid fire questions to wrap it up for today. Are you ready for those?
All right, let's do it.
What is the last book that you read?
The last book I read in full, I've got a few books that are half done right now, but the last book I read in full is called The Apollo Murders by Chris Hadfield. He's a Canadian astronaut, and it's a thriller alternative history of some of the space exploration from the 70s. And it was just gripping. It was so fun. It was very technical. I really enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to the sequel.
What's one single thing that your company is focused on the most at the moment?
Well, right now, I'll say from my perspective, we're trying to advertise a feature that recently came out called DEP testing, or distributed electric propulsion. And with our tools, historically, you've been able to test 1 or 2 at a time for our thrust stands, but now we can go up to 8, which is a pretty big leap in terms of capability. So we're really figuring out what's the best way to market that, to show people that that's available.
Awesome. Really good. If there would be no boundaries in technology and you would have a magic wand, what's the one single thing that you would change for your role?
That's a good question. Probably the social media, that would be done for me or more automated, because it requires probably the most consistent work, working at it every day. So if there was a way to make that easier, I think that'd probably be it.
If you could snap your finger and one repetitive task could be taken off your plate, which one would that be? One
repetitive task. Right now I'm doing a bit of bookkeeping. And it's quite a bit of manual entry. Like, we're pretty good with coding and formulas and all that, but this is one thing we haven't been able to turn into a formula. So if someone could snap their fingers and that'd be done for me, that'd be nice.
Very nice. And for the very last question, if today would be your very first day at Tyto, what's the one advice you would give yourself for that journey?
I'd say start following the experts right away. a lot of the place where I do my marketing learning now is just through the social media channels of people like, or pages like HubSpot, people like Neil Patel. I always joke that Neil Patel says jump and I say how high. These guys really have just a treasure trove of information on their pages. And so I'd say go follow them right away.
Awesome. Very, very cool. So I do think we learned a lot about Tyto today. Really appreciate, Lauren, that you took the time with us on the show. I want to give you the very last word. If somebody would be forgetting all that we discussed about Tyto, what's the one thing people should remember?
I'd say that we're a humble company, but we're reliable and we put a big focus on quality. So if someone's going to be buying something from us, they can be confident that they'll be satisfied.
Thanks a lot for being a guest on Pathway Presents.
Thank you for having me.